Hey there, French Nibs again. Out here in the garage tonight, and we're going to be doing a little bit of tinkering around. It's a nice soggy night out tonight, so perfect night to stay indoors and do some tinkering. But what we are going to be working on is my Smith & Wesson. I already took the grip panels off before, but the Smith & Wesson 79 G. And the main problem with it is the valve there, that little white piece, the valve inside of it. I already had it apart. That old one was a brass piece with a rubber seal or a plastic seal, and the plastic just disintegrated. It was probably on its last leg when I got it. It actually lasted for more than one CO2 cylinder, but on the second CO2 cylinder, it just, all of a sudden I shot it and it went, all the air just leaked right out because it couldn't seal up anymore. But so we're going to go ahead and tear this down and replace that. We're going to I'll probably put this new O-ring on this is the CO2 cap. I'm not going to bother with taking apart the piercing needle right away, because that was holding air pretty good. If it proves down the road it needs it, then I will take it apart then and do that. But for now, there's a roll pin you have to drive out, and it can be a real pain in the butt to get back in properly. So I did find an exploded view from Numrich, and was able to print that out, so that's always helpful. But let's go ahead and get down here to the tabletop. And so there's 2 screws on each side to take the grip panels off, and those are already off. I already got the CO2 out, and so now the main thing we got to do is get this top half off, because the valve is right in here. And to start that, we're going to, so there's like a little spanner nut here on the end, and we got to get that out. So, and this is actually and then this is a pin that will, let's see, should be, what else do we got to take out? Can't remember if these screws have to come out now or to get the top off. I've had it apart once, but it was a couple of, I think that's just for the valve. There's still a sleeve in there, and that sleeve has got to come out. Let's see, here's something I can get up in there with it. These things can be a little tricky. I had it out of there one time already. Looks like it's moving. Remember how I got that out of there. What did I do? That's definitely, there it goes. So Now I get that sleeve out of there, and now the whole top. So I think maybe underneath this there's a screw behind the two big ones here. Maybe that's oh yeah, there it goes. So all right. So now all the top stuff's going to come off. Really don't need to mess with it. We can just leave that all together. But you got a your recoil spring in there. Remember where that goes. And then so we're trying to get at this piece right here, which is the valve. So I already took the one screw out. On the other side, there's two screws on this side. So on this gun, the valve is actually sticking out the front. A lot of them, they stick out the back where the hammer hits it. But let's go ahead and get that out. And then this little piece is the port that lets the CO2 come up into the valve. And that will pull out. We'll replace all of those seals too. But now you can just push that pin in, and that's the actual valve, and that back port will come out, and then you'll have a spring and your hammer, so yeah, there's a little plastic or rubber O-ring inside of there that just totally disintegrated over time. I don't know, maybe I put some Pell oil in there. Maybe that was the wrong thing to do, and it caused that to give up. But let's go ahead and always sends a bottle of this Pell oil. I got dozens of those bottles of Pell oil around here. So I like to use the top of a tin. Ooh. So one of the pieces that I didn't put back in before I put it back all together was there's actually a little transfer port that goes between the top of this thing and the top of the valve and the barrel, and I got to make sure I put that back in before I put it all back together this time. But I'm going to pause the camera because I'm going to clean this stuff all out real good, and then I'll bring you back on and we'll put it all back together. So stand by. Alrighty, well that was pretty easy. Just did a little bit of brake cleaner, and mainly I needed to clean up inside the valve there. It just had some debris from the old valve, and I want to make sure and get that out of there before we try to put it all back together. But let's go ahead and put it back together. So we're going to want to change these two little rubber O-rings out with those. So let's go ahead and where did that? There it is. There's one of them. So this is a very sharp dental pick, so you just have to be very careful while you're messing with that you do not poke your finger. Let's see, I already got it. bottle of oil here open. Don't need to open another one. So we're going to put a little drop of Pell oil on there. Now that we're putting all brand new seals in here, the Pell oil should be fine. Oh, come on. Henry did say this is kits from Henry Ford. Henry did say that the durometer reading of the rubber that he, O-rings that he supplies in his kits are harder rubber than the original, which is fine as far as sealing goes, but it just makes them a little bit more difficult to install. And he was right. There's probably some special tool to make this real easy, but I don't have it. Oh, there we go. All right, so I've got the 2 new O-rings on that little jobber there. That's good. So now I am going to replace this O-ring that seals the 2 halves of the valve together. So when we are done, we're going to end up with those 2 small O-rings left over, because those would go in the piercing cap to seal the piercing needle up. Like I said, for now there's no problem with that, so I'm not going to mess with that. If down the road, or even today, if it proves to not be working properly once I put it all back together, that'll be real easy to just take that off and take it apart and replace that. So but for now, like I said, that roll pin is those roll pins can be very problematic to get apart and back together. So now we want to put a little oil on our valve here. Get the valve down inside there. Our spring. Pretty easy. So now that all pushes back together, and then let's see, this guy pushes up in there like that. So yeah, it was the long side up. Okay, that's good. All right, so we've got our valve all back together, ready to go back into the gun. So now the whole little tube here is a sealed unit for the CO2, and this rubber O-ring right here goes down inside and seals up the top half of the CO2 port. Put a little more oil in there to make that O-ring go down and seal up nice and snug in there. Okay. So now we've got 2 flat screws here. Put these little short flathead screws back in. Pretty good. Alright, one more flat guy here. Okay. So let's see, how does this go? Like that. Oh no, stand by, I just dropped that piece. Gotta find that. Alrighty, I did find it. I got really lucky. But so let's go ahead and so this piece was basically just a screen here. That's what fell on the ground. So that goes in there, and then that goes on there like that. So the spring was down inside of here. So that goes in there like that. And then the top can go back on. And now if I hold it, I should be able to cock it and fire it. Okay, that's good. Now we gotta get this pin back in there. Okay, that'll hold that all together. So now the sleeve goes back in there, and this pin goes back in there, and this is the trigger adjustment part there. Okay, seems like it's all back together. Safety works. Alright, so I am going to put this new O-ring on there just because that's easy to change out. Okay, let me grab a CO2 and we'll fire this guy up. Stand by. Alrighty, I am back with a fresh Crossman CO2 cylinder. Put a little oil on there like we always do. And that goes down in there. with the nose facing down. I'll put the grip panels back on later. Really could put them back on now, I guess, but so you tighten that guy right down nice and good, and then you oh jeez. Apparently there was a pellet in there from when it failed on me. But she's holding air. That's good. So this one did have a screw that was broken off in the grip. Down the road I may goof around and try to get that out of there and fix that. But for today, that's no big deal. Get the last 2 grip screws in here and we'll take a couple of test shots with it. It was shooting really good before, so it still should be, I think it should still be shooting pretty good now. Like I said, the only thing that was really wrong with it was that rubber O-ring that's inside of there. I thought about just trying to dig that out and finding a rubber O-ring, but they're really supposed to be like a hard plastic. Let me bring you guys up here. There we go. Let's bring the tripod out here. My garage is a mess. Had to clean my truck out so I could load up stuff for a picnic. Crossman Premier hollow points should be good. had to verify what the it is a 177 caliber. And we're back to business. This is one of those cool ones that you always want to have. Oh yeah, same hole. Picked it up, got it for a good price locally here, and a lot less than they're normally selling for on eBay for sure. So I was not disappointed that it needed to be resealed. I was a little optimistic when I first got it and it held air right off the bat, but that was a short-lived exuberance. But yeah, these guys are such a cool pellet gun. You got anybody who's got a collection of pellet guns, you got to have one of these. It is shooting good. I am very happy. I know I had to go on and off a few times, so the videos are kind of a little herky-jerky, but pretty much gives you the lowdown of how they work and how to get them apart, how to fix them up and put them back together. So there you go. There is my rebuild of my 79G. That's the 177 version. They also made a 78G, was a 22 version. So and they essentially are the same exact gun, just 22 version, 22 caliber. So there you go, lots of fun. This will be fun to put head to head up against the. So I've got a Crossman Mark 1, which is 22 caliber, but I'm also looking for a Mark 2. I don't have one of those yet, but got lots of CO2 pistols out here. This will be fun to put head to head against, and probably it seems like it's very accurate. So maybe even against some of the brake barrels and single stroke pneumatics. Who knows? So anyway, hope you guys liked the video. Until next time, have a great day.